What is up, everybody? It is your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, here with another live stream of Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito. I hope everybody's having a decent Friday night. Obviously, there's still a lot of shit going on in the world. Today, we're going to talk indie filmmaking with Dan Butler, DImitri Greene. We're going to have Dominic Lerma come on for a little bit, talk about a producer and local uh, filmmaker that tragically passed away over the last couple of weeks, Joe D'Amato. I want to make sure I'm not saying his name wrong. And I'm also, since Horrible Imaginings Film Festival is going on right now, I'm giving away 2 passes to go watch either a block of movies or a single feature-length film as part of the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival online version that's going on over the next week. All you have to do to be considered as a participant is to leave a comment either on the YouTube page or on the Facebook feed, and we will read those comments as they come in. Again, we're going to be talking indie filmmaking, mistakes filmmakers made, mistakes filmmakers and actors make on IMDb specifically. And also, like I said, if you or anybody else was a fan, a friend, worked with Joe D'Amato in a film, and you want to leave a comment about an experience you had with him, or like I said, I sent out some links to people that I saw posting about him. So I'd like you to, if you guys want to come on, you're also welcome to. So first of all, I want to invite my 2 main guests here for the evening. I have somebody who I just spoke to, and we just realized that we really had never had a conversation. Daniel Butler, how you doing today, sir?
Good, Luis. How you doing?
All right, thank you for coming on, man. I know that you do a lot of behind the scene works for the film community that people might not be aware of. And I know that you have some experience as an indie filmmaker and an indie film producer. Would you consider yourself more of a producer, or do you consider yourself a writer? What's the
Uh,
thing that you're most passionate
I
about?
am a editor, VFX artist, sound designer slash recordist, and I do a little bit of PR. That's
Okay.
probably what it is.
So a little bit, just mostly kind of
Behind the scenes.
backbone stuff for production company. And joining us today also because he is an also independent filmmaker, budding editor, world's #1 psychologist. What else are we missing, Dimitri? Here, 2 a.m. burrito playa, actor. He's flossing his poster back there in the background. FIFA aficionado. I think our overall heads up record is like 10-2 in your favor. But DImitri Greene joins us on the program tonight. Thank you for joining us, Dimitri.
Yeah, no problem,
Okay,
man.
and again, Dimitri's
Yeah,
sound is now gone again, which this kind of things happen. Yeah, we can't hear you, Dimitri.
I can hear.
Technical difficulties. All right. This is where the gift of gab comes into play as we try to fix
yeah,
Dimitri's sound.
I can hear him a
Okay.
little bit.
You just butt in whenever you get that taken care of, Dimitri, and we'll get back to you. Okay. And I did want to start off the evening. I have honestly, Joe D'Amato passed away. I don't know him that well personally. But I think that he is precisely one of the main reasons that I ever met this guy that's on the top right hand corner here, Mr. Dominic Lerma, because a long ass time ago, um, he had a party at his house, and I went there with Evie, and I met at this party Dominic Lerma, who would then go on to become a very important part of my filmmaking career. So I want to welcome Dominic to the stream. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Okay.
Just
And Dominic is also muted for some reason. All right, let me
I can hear him a little bit.
unmute you. Make sure that this is not something that I'm doing on my end. Dominic, you still there?
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay. And we lost our 2 viewers because Dominic's phone isn't. Dan, you can still talk, right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Is it me that's not hearing you, or is it just? Okay, let me make sure that it's
maybe.
just not my
I
mistake
can
that
hear,
I'm not
hear
realizing
you.
that I can hear
Everybody
you.
else.
All right, you can hear. Can we hear Dominic?
Yeah, I can hear
good?
Dominic.
Hello? You can hear
All
me?
All right, cool. All right, so looks like we have. All right, so Dominic, let's start with you. I apologize. It looks like there was just a technical glitch on my end here, but tell us just kind of your, I know you wanted to say something regarding Joe and kind of what he meant to you as a producer. Like I said, the main reason that I met you was I went to a party that he threw regarding the project that he was working on, and that's where I met you. So give me a little insight, kind of, how you feel about him passing and kind of what he meant to you.
Well, it definitely wasn't something I wanted to wake up to this past morning. When I found out the news, it kind of definitely speechless. It was kind of like everything just stopped for me for probably the whole day, and still up and down, still trying to, I think as all of us who were close to him, worked with him, I think we're all still trying to process it all. I think it's definitely too soon. This film that he worked on, Curse of the Dragon Lady, that was his baby, that was his passion project. And from what he would tell me, he's been working on that film for years. And, it's just sad that it's done, but due to unfortunate events, as you can see, I can't even get words together. But as far as what he meant to me, that guy, I would say, like, he always saw the best in people, and from seeing what other people have been posting about him, and even with my experiences with him, like, even if you feel like down about yourself and you start doubting your craft or your career ambitions for this industry, he always believed in you and knew how to bring you up, and he always involved you. That's the thing. He always wanted to involve you. And I remember working on this film, he would always, like, if he wanted someone to be in his film, he would literally go home and change the script around and then make it so he could fit that person, because it's like he wanted everyone to be in it. Like, he just wanted everyone to be a part of his vision. And you don't really see that too often, for someone to just go out of their way, change the scripts around like that, just to bring new people in out of nowhere and somehow make it fit together and work out. I did meet him at that party that he had. I remember we were watching, it was an Oscars viewing party we had there.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah. And that's where I met you at, Lou. And that's also where, he was telling me about his idea actually that day, when about his film that he was working on. And I remember over time he switched that film around. It wasn't even Curse of the Dragon Lady. At first it was called, I think he changed the title so many times, but I remember the first title was I think Man in the Red Mask or something like that, but he would always change it around. But yet his vision was awesome. It was something amazing to be a part of. And I remember when we were working on Bullets, Fangs, and Dinner at 8, I remember Matthew sent us to Starbucks to do a coffee run and get some things that the cast and crew needed. And I actually just got done filming my scene, so I was like covered in blood on a shirt. And I remember we thought it was funny that we walked into Starbucks and people were just kind of like eyeing us like, well, what in the hell happened? And we're just there trying to get coffees and go back to set. But I remember just the whole conversation I would have with him on the ride over there. And even there, he's just such a humble dude. Always letting us use his classroom to film, his house. And then always even wanting to hang out when we're wrapped for the day. Like, he always tried to show you his appreciation in his own ways. So it's been hard. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's been a very hard one for me. We're all, it's just a weird time. And, I've been seeing other people lose close friends and families of them. And, it sucks. It's a very unplanned thing. It sucks that it happened to him. But, I think as a film community here, we'll all get through it. I noticed there's been a lot of love and support going out to him and his family. And so, I think if he's looking down on us right now, which I know he is, I would say he's really happy knowing that we've always been there for him, and his film ain't gonna go to shame. Like, I hope we could work together with the producers and be able
Right,
to actually do a legit.
The movie was supposed this. I mean, obviously the same as the Horrible Imagining Film Festival, the San Diego Latino Film Festival was scheduled to go live and be a a participation event in March. His new movie was supposed to have a screening in March as well, and that
Yeah.
got postponed due to COVID. And a couple of things that I remember from being at that Oscars viewing party is somebody I think mentioned it in another post. Yeah, the TV the size of the house took up like like an entire wall, and
Yep.
he just started talking to me about a movie that he wanted to make, and he was very passionate about his ideas. Obviously, after I saw that what they had put together, like it felt to me like it had an interesting aesthetic in as much as the style, but it just reminded me a lot of some of the things that we respect the most at 2am Burrito and Edwood Film School, which is that attitude of, yeah, hey, this person wants to be in the movie. Shit, we'll fucking write you into the movie. We have this location. Let's write around that. As a producer, like a editor, Dan, kind of what was your experience working with Joe?
I think he's muted.
He's sorry. Hold on a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot I pushed mute because I didn't want to interrupt. But I first met Joe. I was brought on late to Matthew Roca's feature film, to help out with visual effects and supervising that and whatnot. And I remember I believe the first time I met Joe, he was wearing the outfit that a priest would wear in a church, and we were shooting the movie in a church, literally, and it was an intense scene. The opening of the movie, I won't give it away, but what I liked about when I think back about that movie and Joe's part in it is I feel very much like Joe's character was Joe. Like he wasn't really acting in the movie. He was just, and it just kind of felt weird to kind of see it afterwards, after going through the rest of the shooting of the movie and getting to know him and what a nice guy he was, because he wasn't in the movie throughout, but he was on set every day I was there. And I specifically remember one time being on set for something like 20 hours with him. And and I remember it was like hour 19 before Joe had his on-screen part. And it must have been like, I think it was like 7 a.m. till like 3 a.m. So it must have been about 2 a.m. That they were using Joe for his part. And I distinctly remember actually being one of the camera operators for a specific part in the movie with Matthew and Joe. And Joe just like didn't care at all. Like, he just made it seem like, oh, are we done already? And it was like a whole 24-hour like shoot. So like he seemed like he had energy for forever. And I remember the last time I saw Joe was about a year ago. I went to a film screening in downtown San Diego, and on the way, I stopped at Matthew's Next Movies fundraiser, and I ran into Joe there, and we kind of got caught up a bit. He definitely seemed a bit. He looked less healthy than I remember, but I didn't think much of it just because he had the same like bright spirit that he always did. But other than that, I mean, I talked to him a little bit online, but I would say, like many people, I really don't communicate with them unless it's face to face. And he was one of the people that always remembered me, always greeted me kindly, and it really is sad to think that 2020 has yet another soul that it's taken, and this time it's somebody that we all knew. It just really is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. It is unfortunate when people think of all the shit happening right now, and it's almost like it doesn't become real to you unless it affects you directly. That's the same as with a lot of things. That's the same reason a lot of Republicans don't start believing in, like, gay rights until one of their sons or daughters comes out. If it doesn't affect you personally, we have a tendency to sort of push it away and kind of not really think that it is. But I don't think there's been anybody that hasn't been touched by 2020 so far. Obviously, we lost Chadwick Boseman last week, and that's not necessarily related to the year, but it's another tragedy. um, as a sports fan, New York fan, Tom Seaver, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, passed away yesterday. R.I.P. to one of the greatest. And there's been a lot of stuff happening, but films and film festivals and filmmaking has sort of slowly started to resume. And John Vasquez also mentions Kobe. Obviously, that's kind of what started it off this whole year. What's up, John? Thanks for participating. And Enslaved by Vegetables had previously said, "I can hear them." Yes, I realized that it was my asterisk chat thing, and I didn't have it on, and that's why I couldn't hear DImitri earlier. But
Oh,
now,
there he is.
back for the very first time, DImitri Greene back in the house. Sorry about earlier, my brother. But you're back now. Can you hear us? Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we are connected. Excellent.
All right.
All right, so Dominic and Daniel sort of shared their experiences with Joe D'Amato. I know you not necessarily in. Did you meet Joe in any projects at all, Dimitri, or not?
I never met Joe at a project. I did shake hands with him really quickly at an event. We didn't talk much.
Okay. Now, I do. Let me see. I'm waiting for somebody else to come in. Okay. So if anybody else has any Joe stories that they want to share, feel free to comment them in the comment section, either on YouTube or on the Facebook stream, and I'll get to you. And like I said, I also have some invites out to some of his friends to come by, stop by, and have his meetings. But since I have all you guys here, like I said, film production, filmmaking does move on, specifically as it pertains to the local scene. Dimitri, Daniel, I wanted to talk with you guys about some of the mistakes that filmmakers make when they start off their career. You had talked, but and I kind of wanted to preface this, Dan, by looking up your IMDb, right? But what happens is that I run into a guy, Dan Butler, that was on Pinky Blinders, right? And then there's
Right.
another like Dan K. Butler or something that was on like Fear or some other different TV shows. IMDb is a great tool, but it can also be a complicated place. What are I also know, like, for example, when we one of the bare minimums that you can do as an independent filmmaker is make sure that you put the projects on IMDb for people that are working for you for free. That's kind of like the lowest common denominator, right? And that's kind of the main thing that actors that start out. But we also have our friend George Jack, who used to be George Buyo, who is now, like, you don't know, Jack is his website, and he finally decided to stick with that name. However, he might have credits from previous stuff that's like all over the place, right? So what are some of the main do's and don'ts or mistakes that filmmakers and actors make when they begin using IMDb, Daniel?
I would say the most common is they submit the film, whether they're in pre-production or they're filming or they're in post, and they just forget about it after that. And what happens is it looks like the movie never came out. It just it's left in, production status. And the reason that affects it is because there's typically not a release date attached to it. The year in parentheses next to the title. And it makes it very difficult to find the movie, especially if the movie has a common title like Lucky, or just anything that's just a one word phrase for a title that doesn't stand on its own, especially without the year attached. It makes it very difficult for anybody to find that. And on top of it, if it's stuck in production status, nobody can rate the movie if they've seen it. And so you kind of just, you know, nobody really knows if the movie came out or not. You know, if they find out about it, they don't see it. They don't find out about it on IMDb. That's for sure.
I've gotten emails from like projects from like 8 years ago from IMDb that's like, hey, did this movie ever get released or something like that? Because I think that's a mistake that I made on one of my early projects, right?
Yeah. So basically, you just want to make sure that it's up to date. You want to make sure that you have all the credits attached. You want to make sure the cast is not just listed but ordered, because a lot of times people just list the cast, and then what happens is it alphabetizes them, and then usually like it'll say starring, but it'll be extras or something. You want to make sure you order the cast, or at least the main cast, so that way they're properly attributed. And you want to also just make sure to like include a plot. Like it can be like a 1-sentence plot, even just to kind of, you know, give people an idea what the movie's about. The trailer and the poster usually tells you that, but if there's not like written plot information where people like to read, it kind of just gets left in IMDb limbo. And I believe there's like, I think there's, last I checked, there was over 5 million titles on IMDb and over 8 million people. I believe that number is a lot higher now, though.
Yeah, no, I think that a couple of things that you mentioned, for example, with Kenneth, one of the movies that we produced was called Party Foul. And when we went to put it on IMDb, it was like literally like 45 different party fouls on there because it's a very common sort of thought name. So we ended up, I think, having to call it like a 2 a.m. burrito party foul or something like that. And we've had to do that on a couple of other movies. I think one was called Period Piece because there's a shit ton of movies called Period Piece. So if you thought of a cool title for your movie, like if you're going to call it like Bullet Tag or something, there's probably 7 or 8 other people that are, you know, calling their movie the cool title as well. So we've experienced that firsthand, and also kind of doing your due diligence and updating it so that it doesn't, so that, you know, Armando Ashanti, who is listed alphabetically, but he was just a background extra, comes up first, right?
Yeah, you don't want your extras to be starring in the movie. You want the actual leads to get that credit.
All right. And then the other part of that is in terms of your name, when you, because, you know, from my perspective, when I was getting on IMDb, and jokingly, I called you the IMDb fairy because a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people have come to me and they're like, I went on my IMDb and somebody put my pictures on. And then I'm like, well, that's Dan Butler probably did that, you know. So I wanted to give you public kudos because a lot of people don't realize that you're the reason. Because especially a lot of San Diego film events, you have gone out of your way to take event pictures and connect them and put them on people's IMDb profile. Correct?
That had to happen to me.
Yes. Pretty much anybody local in San Diego, if I know you and your picture's on IMDb and you didn't add it and you don't have a pro account, it was probably me that put it up there. And I did that. I did that because it helps give you credibility. IMDb is one of the oldest websites in the world. I think it started in 1990s. We're at 30 years now. So it ranks very high on search engines. So by having your photo there, it's very important, I guess, for your credibility. So yeah, I basically do that to, you know, because we're trying to turn San Diego into, I guess, what I would consider a mini Hollywood. And in order to do that, you kind of have to make it look pleasant online. There's so much content out there online, but a lot of the profiles and whatnot are empty. And so if you can fill them out as best you can, suddenly they're no longer empty. They're believable. So the name attribute, specifically in my case, in Luis's case, we have very, very common names. So I make sure to spell my name a way nobody else has spelled it by using my middle initial. I could use my middle name, but I choose not to. If I was an actor, I'd probably drop my last name and just, you know, go by Daniel Nicholas, which is my middle name. That would just be my actor handle if I wanted, because I already checked it and there's nobody using that except for I think there's one magician or something like that out there with that name. But for the most part, Dan Butler or Daniel Butler, there's 10 or 20 other people out there more important than me. And last thing I want to do is have my name on a business card. Someone looks me up and, they can't find you. So I spell it very specifically to stand out as its own. Doesn't mean that it ranks better than other people. It just means that it ranks the best for that spelling. And that's really what you want to focus on. If you have a common name, it's difficult because people are like, I've been using that for 5 years though. If you can ask any agent in the industry, any real agent in the industry that knows, they'll tell you right away, hey, you change your last name. If you have a common last name, change it or add your middle initial or middle name to stand on its own. Because if you're not doing that, you're kind of making yourself lost in limbo, I guess, on the internet.
Right. I mean, I had to make a decision because when I IMDb myself, it's like I'm literally like Luis Martinez, like 17th or the 16th or something like that. And a lot of the, I always joke that Luis Martinez is like the Latino Kevin Smith in terms of a common name. But I feel, but my thought process and probably just this gigantic head and ego was, fuck it. You know what? I'm just going to make myself the most famous Luis Martinez out of all of them. So it wasn't matter. But as an actor specifically, I think starting out, because there's less of a chance that there's another Luis Martinez director. There's a Luis Martinez that's a DJ that's like super famous somewhere. He's also from Colombia. And then there's a couple of others, but most of the Luis Martinez's IMDb are either actors or VFX people. There's stuff like that. But as an actor, what do you think is more important? Sticking to the name that you have your credits on, or having the distinctive name that sets you apart?
It depends. If you have a very specific name already, or you're not competing already with several other people, to me, it doesn't matter if you're an actor or director. If there's so many other names that spell it the exact same on IMDb, much less search engines, I would change that spelling. But in your case, Luis and Dominic and DImitri, you guys all have photos, so it makes it a lot easier now. This is another reason I add the photo, is when you have a common name, if someone else is crediting you for something, they can find your profile a lot easily by having a photo. If they don't have a photo, they're not going to look through all 25 of them. They're probably just going to create another one. And that makes your problem even worse when they wind up creating duplicate accounts for the same person. It just basically turns into a fiasco, and that is fixable, but it's easier to just avoid altogether.
If I had $1 for every time one of my producers came to me and said, look, this woman is in our movie, or this guy's in our movie, and she gave me this name, and I looked her up under her Facebook name, and now she wants me to change her IMDb credit to this third name. This is the name she signed on the release form. This is her Facebook name, but now she's mad because she wants her IMDb credit to go to this name.
Well, the way that works is with credits specifically is you can have several different names. You can only have one display name, but you can associate your name several different ways. And the reason IMDb allows you to do that is because a lot of times people are miscredited by typos in credits. So what happens is you associate the typo to the proper profile. So if somebody typing in the name on the screen, they see it on the the rolling credits, they type it in on IMDb, that profile will still come up spelled correctly.
As a producer, it's kind of a bit of a pain in the ass on that back end, though, when you're trying to link people's accounts. Because sometimes if they're starting off and you're that person's first credit, you're putting them on IMDb for the first time, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to just ask people if they have IMDb, and if they do, and they have a common name, to maybe send the link to their page, or at least the little name ID tag, which is basically like a little code next to in your URL for your link, because that code matches right up to your profile and makes it really easy to find when it otherwise wouldn't be.
DImitri, what do you go by under IMDb?
I believe I just go by DImitri Greene. I believe that's it. And And thank you, Dan, for putting my picture up there. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dan, can you remove the one of me with my hands like this? Because I'm just kidding. Do people ever come back and say like, "Hey, thank you for putting my picture up, but can you put this one here specifically?"
You'd be surprised. I mean, first of all, I love IMDb Pro. I don't have IMDb Pro because I'm not an actor, and I feel like actors benefit from it the most. But actors and casting directors, anyways. Everybody else, I kind of feel like it's not really worth the price. But it really depends on if you're using all the features or not. I know a lot of people that literally just pay the IMDb fee just to have their picture up there, and that is a waste of money. There are so many other things that you can be getting out of that service that you should be using if you're going to pay for it. And I recommend you do. But if you're not, I can put your photo out there and it'll just be there forever. And if you don't like it one day, I think you can report it and it will remove it. But other than that, like, you really just want to make sure that you have a photo. Even if you don't like it, it's better to have a face to a name than nothing.
That's why we're going to call you the benevolent Daniel Butler, since you're helping out.
Daniel N. Butler.
Daniel N. Butler.
Yes.
Daniel N. Butler.
There you go.
That's the best one. So, in your perspective, as if you're a producer, director, IMDb Pro, not necessarily a must-have, then, right?
I recommend it. If I was an actor, a regular actor,
for an actor, though, yes.
Yeah, I would be on that for sure because they give you features that let you edit your. My favorite feature is they let you edit your known for, which are the 4 posters that pop up first. If you have more than 4 credits, only 4 posters pop up on your profile. And with an IMDb Pro account, you can just rearrange those however you want. It'll also let you show your initial images. If you have, I think, like 6 images, it will let you display whichever ones of those you want. And that's a pretty cool feature also. But also you get like contact information and, a bunch of other stuff. But that's my favorite thing about it.
So you think it's worth it? What is it? $9 a month? It's like paying for Netflix,
I think it's like
basically?
12 to 15. I'm on it. I get like a free month every quarter. So I'm on it. I got like a free 4 months every year, I use, but like for the most part, like I don't really need the expense of it. Because the only thing I really do with it when I have that free month is I start studying the the star meter, which a lot of people don't take serious enough or take too seriously. Some people think that if you're, way off.
I went up by 15,000 on my star meter.
Yeah, a lot of people think the star meter is make it or break it. If you're not really high, you need to get up there. You need to get clicks on it. And I've seen people share it around, and that's fine. But I don't recommend it. I think it's a waste of time doing it that way. The idea is you want to try to break into the top 20,000 in the world. I think there's a little like icon that shows you when you're in the top 5,000 or 500 or top 100 even. But you want to try to not just be in the top 20,000, but maintain in the top 20,000. If you're not in the top 20,000, chances are you're not getting a lot of clicks, and something's wrong with that. You want to get more clicks.
Now, I also heard that one of the things that goes into your star meter, because Dominic was asking about this, was if you had any A-list acting awards from local film competition. Dominic, do you want to expand on that? Is that something that you were asking about? Does the A-list acting award factor into the star meter, Dominic, from your perspective?
I mean, it could. I mean, it could. Dude, that's all I can say. I can't guarantee it.
Thank you for your contribution.
I can say that awards help, but they're also not make it or break it. If it's not an Oscar, like nobody cares. Like it's cool. But when we go to these events, the film awards, all these things, these are events to network at. We're all there to celebrate the winners and the nominees, but realize that you are there for yourself to network. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't get nominated. I'm not going to go." And it's like, what does that matter? It's not
just a
change your
party.
life. Yeah. You want a network.
No, I understand. People take a social networking event and treat it if it's like Hollywood, and it's not. There's fake it till you make it. There's wanting San Diego to be a little mini Hollywood and have a thriving like indie and like ultra low budget film industry, but there's also the fact that it's film club. People are getting together to network to actually work on their next movie. You can find people to that you trust to critique actors, people like that. Absolutely. But I was just giving Dominic a little shit like that because he had his dipped in silver and he mounted it on the hood of his Kia.
No, you should. I would probably do the same thing. I don't have any awards. I would totally do that. But I will say not having awards isn't the worst thing either. I think, and this is just based on my opinion, but I think that awards and laurels are overrated. I feel like they are too much focus put into those. And I think something more focused, especially in San Diego, are reviews.
Mhm.
Get reviews on your movies, and not just audience reviews. Get critic reviews. Notable sources talking about you and your movies. That is far more important than awards and laurels on your post.
I think especially the significance of laurels, since there's an exploitation of filmmakers by film festivals where they'll have a genre film festival that's in a bar, like on a 20-inch plasma, and they'll charge you $65, but you'll get some cool laurels for your poster, and it's not really a legitimate film festival, but the laurels they look just like the ones from Sundance. When you put them on your poster, they'll give you a sick ass transparency that you can drop in there.
I will say if you have a big name like Sundance or San Diego International Film Festival, if you can have that one laurel, that's important. Yeah. Having a big top-tier festival laurel is important.
All right, let me catch up on comments here. Dominic said 2AMB Present sounds dope, though. You are right, Mr. Vasquez. I appreciate you watching the screen. Another 2AMB player. And then Brian Patrick stops by and says, I'm really into the Chipmunk voice filter, Dan. Okay, didn't know.
All right. That's my brother. That's my brother. You didn't know.
Oh, no, I think I met him before, too.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, I'm giving my brother shit. Your brother's giving you shit. This is what's happening. One question I had for you guys, since you guys both either volunteer or have worked for the local consortium, is have you guys thought about doing a portion of the upcoming film festivals as a drive-in? Because, I mean, if I could pack a couple of people and go to down south to the drive-in where I can watch some local movies from my car, distance from people, puffle, you know what I'm saying? In that you can't do inside of a movie theater. That would be dope. Have you guys, DImitri might have a little insight onto that.
Go ahead, DImitri.
Yeah. So like the event that is most prominent in Film Consortium is the San Diego Film Awards, which has been going on for 6-7 years now. And then the newest premier festival is the San Diego Film Week Festival. Now, with San Diego Film Week, that obviously didn't happen this year because of COVID, and it's still looking to be released. Well, they'll update you with stuff like that. So when I'm talking to Jody about this, basically, out of everything that's been going on with COVID, like the theaters are like the last to just say we're not doing nothing. Like all the restaurants and everything like that, whatever small businesses that are also out there, they have all pretty much found a way to reopen. And the theaters literally just today started letting people back in, like literally just today. So to go to your question about the drive-in, I know Jody talked about doing screenings in Spring Valley for it. And I know Spring Valley is basically, I know there's obviously the South Bay drive-in, and then there's also the Santee drive-in. And what happens with those is like, because they're running business too, they have to really look at who the audience is and what the ticket sales are going to be. And then Jody has to make a decision if she's going to have to be able, if she can be able to afford costs to have that screening there. Because this year we were looking at doing it in La Jolla AMC, which would be big. It's probably one of the coolest, probably most expensive places we've done this event in. And having events in La Jolla was going to be big because one
Yeah,
thing.
but isn't that like San Diego International Film Festival territory? Are we gonna have to beef with them? What's gonna happen right here?
No, we're not gonna have to beef with them because we're partners with them. We're
Okay.
we're partnered with San Diego International,
Man,
so there would be no beef.
fuck
Just like
those
we're
guys.
also partnered with La Jolla. We're also partnered with the La Jolla Film Festival as well. So it would be all good there. So yeah, we definitely. We'll
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on
probably take
wax
more.
for San Diego International Film Festival, which is a big triple FU to you. They treated me and Dominic like shit when we went there last year, and I will not be returning. I will be leaving a 1-star Yelp review, San Diego International Film Festival. If you don't want people from the 48-hour film festival to fucking creep up your fucking parties and your fucking things, then don't let
Had to
them
bring me
show
in
up
that.
at your fucking festival at all. If you're gonna say, if you're part of the San Diego 48-hour film festival and you get to the best of screening, you're gonna get to go and have your movie
Yeah,
shown during
exactly.
the prestigious San Diego International motherfucking film festival. But when I show up with Dominic, you're gonna be like, no, you guys are here because you got in from the 48-hour, and you guys are not fucking good enough for the full fucking festival pass. And had me and Dominic having to sneak around past ushers and shit to get our free Stella Areolas,
How to bring
which
me
is
into
the
this.
only reason that people go to film festivals, if you think about it. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dimitri, but I just wanted to put it on wax. Fuck San Diego, not San Diego Latino. Love San Diego Latino Film Festival. Fuck San Diego International Film Festival.
Is going on here?
Spaz,
Sorry. Anyway.
bro.
Why am I even
Sorry.
mentioning this?
Anyway, like I said, no, because if you're going to invite people from the 48-hour film festival to a special screening so they can say my film screened there, because that's the only fucking reason there to go, don't treat them like second-class citizens and tell them they can only get the very basic film pass where they can't fucking be treated as a fucking filmmaker gets treated at a film festival. When I got my film festival pass for San Diego Latino Film Festival for Slapworthy starring Dominic Lerma, we had the fucking full festival passes, got to go to all the events, got to go to the opening and closing parties to network with fucking filmmakers. But when we got invited to this film festival for Last Lessons, poster behind DImitri, we got treated literally like fucking third-class citizens, and they were like, "Oh," they literally like had a look on their face when I asked for them, can we go to these events? They're like, oh, either you have to pay extra or you're not invited because we're the fucking riffraff from the 48. Sorry, that was my hot take. I apologize. I don't apologize, but but we're talking in generally about film festivals that are either worth your time, worth your money as a filmmaker. There's a whole other slew of festivals that are just built around taking filmmakers' money so that, like Dan said, you can put fucking laurels on your poster. But to bring it back home, what Dan said is that's not as important as getting people to review your film. So how can you do that? Look for Twitter reviewers. I got that for Slapworthy. I look for Latinx Twitter reviewers on Twitter, film reviewers on Twitter, and I tweeted them links, try to start a conversation with them, and sent them links to Slapworthy so that they could look at it and give me a review. And other people like that. Find the movie, right? That's got to be something. There's got to be something to that, right? Like in terms of finding a niche kind of reviewer or people that are going to like your specific film.
Yeah. I just like to say I finally saw Slapworthy the other day. I was like, oh, I'm talking to Luis. I gotta watch this movie. I liked it. I had seen I saw the short version of it at Film Week a few years back, and I don't know. I liked it. I'm surprised at how many people were in the movie that I, heard of but didn't know. But I knew a few people, like Dominic.
The Lermy Lerm.
Yeah.
Dominic, I'm 90% of your IMDb credits, right? More or less. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I was gonna
go ahead, Dimitri.
Yeah, I was
go back to what you were saying, Dimitri.
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's cool, man. I loved it actually. That was actually lit. You woke me up. Turn me up, baby. Turn me up. But no, to just generally answer the question about drive-ins. First of all, do I personally like the idea? Hell yeah. I mean, I think drive-ins are dope, and especially in a time like right now. What it comes down to is two things. Number one, cost, how much they're going to charge. if they're trying to, you know, charge out the wazoo, which sometimes you don't know with certain theaters, they all charge differently. That's going to be your first problem. And your second problem is, how do you package your film? Because this year they were having everybody do digital cinema packages, or DCP. So for people who don't know, most films that are real films that are played in theaters on the big screen are made with a DCP, digital cinema package, right? Everybody doesn't, you know, if you're an indie filmmaker, you might not be familiar with that. First of all, if you've never done it before, like me, you would have to pay a server to kind of like create one for you on Dropbox, which cost, you know, when we did Last Lessons and turned that film in, that literally cost about.
You can do Raptor. You can do Raptor on off of Premiere, but you need a shit ton of GPU and like disk space for it to, because it takes a shitload. My old computer could barely do it. So you can generate your own DCP, but you need an external solid state drive to carry it in, and you need a pretty robust PC, and it still might not work specific to the theater that you're showing your movie. So if you want to talk cost versus your time, now this is one good thing about the virtual online festivals, and I'm pretty sure that Miguel and other people that are running festivals would agree, is that if it's an online festival, you don't have to worry about that. So at least the QA part of the festival is lessened by it being virtual. But Dan, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, before all this pandemic went down, I actually was able to generate a DCP for my brother's film. It was just under an hour, and I was able to do it on my 2007 Mac Pro at the time. So I was able to create a DCP that hopefully would have worked if we were actually in a theater, and we will be at some point. But yeah, his film screened a few weeks ago at Oceanside online, and we did not need a DCP for that. It was just a regular H.264 MP4 file, and that was perfectly fine for web streaming.
Friend of the world, right?
Yeah, friend of the world, a title that stands on its own.
Yeah, that
you would think it would already be taken.
What a lot of the festivals, that H.264 codec has been able to get the job done in most of the festivals. But then when you're talking about a drive-in, it's a projector.
Yeah. You're almost better off sending the entire stream of movies and having it put on, you know, just like a film reel and just having it projected like that. That would be dope. Get that fucking old school movie. Let's start the 70 millimeter film festival, Dan. Let's do it. All right.
Let's do it.
But I wanted to ask you a little bit about Friend of the World. What's your involvement in terms of just promoting it as somebody that you know's movie, or how were you involved in that?
So this is a film my brother wrote about 4 years ago, and it was just on the brink of the election 4 years ago, and we shot it the following year, and it's just kind of been on the back burner since then, and we finally, you know, released it a lot later than we expected, especially with the pandemic. But even without the pandemic, it's still, you know, almost a year past what we would have liked to, you know, for a film that's under an hour that was shot in only, you know, 12 or 13 days. But I was basically the on-set sound recordist. I supervised all the visual effects and handled all of those in post. And I took photos on set part of the time in between takes for BTS, because I see a lot of this is another reason I do this. I don't like to be the photographer. I would rather photographers just give me pictures and I will put them in all the places they should be online. But I see pretty much a lot of BTS being taken with like cell phones, and that's something you can't really use to promote your movie. So I physically had a camera while I had my headset on, this headset in fact, and this was my recorder for the movie. I had a Zoom mic attached to it though, or a shotgun mic, sorry. This is the Zoom recorder. And I basically, you know, we just kind of really took our time with it and released it last month, 3 weeks ago, I guess. And about 6 weeks ago, I went in and I refused to let the movie fail. I see so many films a lot of hard work and effort get put into it, and they just kind of disappear when they come out. And I refused to let the movie fail. And I went out there and I said, hey, I'm just going to, take this free time that we all have sitting at home where we can safely, contact the press. And, I basically I think we have like nine critic reviews right now, one of which is on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. And then we got listed in the Times of San Diego and the San Diego Union Tribune. And unrelated, my brother was on TV for the film also. But I think that would have happened anyways, just because the festival needed a local film to promote. But there you go. I don't think too many people have seen it yet, but it is one critic calls it an art of this time. It basically is a movie. If you watch it, it feels like a continuation of our natural world based on its characters: an older white man, a young black woman, and you could kind of just see what happens when you throw my brother's twisted mind into the mix.
I saw one review that said it was Idiocracy meets The Walking Dead.
Really?
No, not really. I just made that up.
See that review because I'm on that every day looking for new reviews.
That's just no. I'm sorry. That was me making it up just based on like 3 seconds that I saw from the. I guess you have a trailer or just some photos up and stuff. I have not seen the film, so like I said, that was just me making a joke.
It is a film built for theaters. So whether it's at the drive-in or inside a theater, we hope to show it there, but we're not waiting. So we screened it online, and we will be screening in as early as February, as part of the Oceanside Film Festival from last month, in a theater. But that might get pushed back as we get closer to February. So I don't know, but it will screen in a theater at some point. So we know that's happening.
Is that an actual Bernie shirt or is that a ad? That's a Larry David. Okay, I was like, is that Larry David as Bernie or is that Bernie?
No, it's Larry David.
Okay, make it Larry. Where did you where did your love of film start? I mean, have you always sort of did you go down did you go down another path and then suddenly realize you like film, or is film and kind of there just something that's always been in you?
It's kind of always been there. It's always been like on the back burner in the back of my mind. I used to put together home movies, some of which I stupidly added to IMDb. Big mistake. I make mistakes. But it's kind of like the inspiration growing up for my brother. And then I kind of moved on from film, and he kind of went right into acting and writing and directing, and kind of kept me in the loop with stuff. So I would say we are our own two best friends, kind of keeping each other, I guess, straight on the whole idea of what production means to us. And I'm in it all the way now. Like there was a point where I was working and in it and working not in it. And now it's like, I'm in it. This is it. This is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. And yeah, I'm all in. All in.
All in.
All in.
Nice. But is there a particular film from your youth or growing up that you think is kind of like what solidified it for you? Like, if I could make something like that, or if I could be a part of something like this.
You mean a film that inspired me, or a film that I
that inspired you when you were growing up, that kind of solidified that love of it?
I would say it continues to inspire me more and more. My favorite movie growing up is Oliver Stone's JFK, and like watching that movie, it's a 3.5 hour movie, and I don't watch it that much anymore, but there was a time when I would watch it, every month or every week. And I really like the story. I like that it's based on true events. I just like the idea that, you can create something and make it believable. And if you do a good job at it, you can have a solid career.
Propaganda. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. But you do hear the criticism regarding Oliver Stone in terms of kind of like this is kind of related because he did the Billy West story.
I know nothing about him as a director. I just really like that movie.
No, I understand, but I mean, just people give him shit because of the fact it's a brilliant movie. Like you can watch JFK like anytime it's on. That's not the question, but he does like to tell his story or his version of the story.
Right. So he's basically convinced the audience of what's going through his head. Yes, I'm aware of that more so now than I was back then. But he does a very good job at doing it, and I think there's something about film that as long as it's fictional or that it's based on somebody else's opinion, regardless, unless you're watching a documentary where it's factual, I don't think it really matters. It doesn't matter. Did you enjoy it? Were you entertained? That's kind of how I see it. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think it matters if the audience likes your movie as much as it matters that they watch it.
Damn, that's cool. Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah. If they're watching your movie, you have succeeded as a filmmaker, regardless if they love it or hate it.
Yeah, basically that's kind of saying like once you've finished it, it's out of your hands how people perceive it, right?
Right. I mean, as long as the writer and the director are happy, like that's it. It's up to the audience to decide if they want to see more or if like it's just not for them. Either way, the director and the writer, the important part is that they're happy with the finished product.
No, but obviously taking the right steps and promoting your film is going to play a huge step towards that, right? I mean, in some it's out of your hands, but you also want to put your best foot forward for promotion, right?
There's definitely an audience for everything. The audience, there's big audiences and small audiences, and as we find out, most of the time the critics and the audiences disagree. You get really good critic reviews, you get really bad audience reviews. Sometimes there's a mix of both, but I just feel that it doesn't totally matter that much as long as they're watching the movie. I guess that's how I see it as a person who nobody really knows. Trying to get known without actually doing what most people do, acting and getting their name out there. I'm basically just trying to sell the idea that this is what you need to do. But I'm not a director, writer, or anything that can't really tell you why you should do it because I can't really say it worked out for me,
Do you have stories? I guess because I mean, I'm a director, and ever since I knew I wanted to be a director, I've had these stories, scenes of movies, little bits of movies that I wanted to make in my mind. Do you sort of just take the projects in front of you and then adapt to them, or do you also have your own stories that you'll make eventually, or that
It's a little bit of both. I definitely would rather take somebody else's idea and bring it to screen, but I definitely have that lick. I could never write a screenplay. I probably could never direct a movie, but I could probably write a story, come up with the initial idea of the movie. And so there's been a little bit of that going on in my mind. Nothing serious, but it's there. It's there. I definitely get inspired and think, oh, that would make an interesting film.
All right, we're in the Amazon Prime pitch room right now, okay? And you've been brought in to pitch a movie with a $5 million budget, right? The only rule is that Dominic Lerma is the lead actor in this film. So any genre, what is Dominic Lerma's role in the movie that you're pitching off the top of your head to Amazon?
Probably.
All right, here he is right there. He's right there.
I would probably put Dominic in the romantic comedy drama.
Mhm.
And that's based on only seeing him in Bullets, Fangs, Dinner at 8, and recently Slapworthy, I would say. Having said that, if you want to know my true feelings about Amazon Prime, we can save that.
Yeah, no, that was a segue, but I just wanted to see what you would put Dominic in.
I would say romantic comedy. He's a comedic actor. I don't think I don't want to get like too specific on why, but I think there's a lot of improper casting that happened, and that doesn't. And I say improper casting because I feel like everyone is a good actor in their own mind, and improper casting, whether it's the actor trying to play a genre that they're not meant for, or the casting director decides, oh, this person's going to produce my movie. Sure, they can be the lead. Like I feel like there is a genre for everybody, including myself. I'd probably just play myself like Larry David, but I feel that it's very important that actors know their limits and don't try to be someone they aren't. That's just my opinion. I know actors, there's plenty of actors that can do several genres. My opinion, from what I know about Dominic, that's my opinion. Romantic comedy, buddy.
Dominic, what do you think? Would you be in Dan Butler's romantic comedy?
Yep, I could see myself being in that. I'll be in it.
You mean doing a movie that you've already done? You could be Hank forever.
Dan plays the love interest.
Oh, there we go. Plot twist.
I would probably not be. I mean, obviously, if I'm pitching and I need Dominic, I'm gonna say romantic comedy, but I'm probably not gonna be writing a romantic comedy.
It's gonna be a fake romantic.
Yeah, it's not my favorite genre, or really even top 3. So.
All right, so I think that I could see you definitely in like a Larry David origin story, maybe, and then you could be a young Larry David, and then Dominic could be a young Jerry Seinfeld, and you guys could be like meeting each other in the clubs.
There we go. Now I'm listening. Now I'm listening.
First you had my. Now you have my attention.
Well, yeah.
And to segue into something that you posted about recently, and it's something else that I wanted to talk about, and it's the goal is get into a room with Netflix or Hulu or HBO or somebody to pitch your show. But there's also a lot of avenues for filmmakers in terms of self-distribution. You can put it on Amazon, and we were going to put it. I mean, I looked at the Amazon model for a while, and I opted against just leaving it free on YouTube for Slapworthy because they wanted us to jump through a shit ton of hoops to get there, and then it was either you have to get X amount of streaming hours to get very little money, or if you put it up for a rent for $3, they get $1.50 of it. And they have a couple of different options there, but I know you're not a huge fan of them. How do you feel in terms of their practices with indie filmmakers?
Well, I'll get to why I don't like them anymore.
Right.
After recent observations, but
I'm prepared to have my packages be late for the next 2 months.
But right. Your film is interesting because it's just under an hour, so I feel like it's a little bit too long for YouTube. I was able to watch it because I have the app on my TV. But I feel like most people are just, flipping through Amazon Prime on their TV. And that platform has been proven to, over time, get more, I guess, eyes or audiences, more viewers. They basically, it's weird. You would think that just putting it out there, that everyone's just going to find it if they want to see it. And it's not necessarily about that. You want to have it in as many places as you possibly can. That way, people that, weren't looking for it come across it. And that, I feel like a film like that, I would probably not have it on YouTube. And I would probably charge a fee for it. Maybe not $3, because $3 is like a 90-minute rental, and 60 minutes, maybe like $2 or even 99 cents. But that's just my opinion. Most distributors, when they use Amazon Prime, they'll put it out there for 3 to 6 months for a price, and then it will be free on Prime. And then after that, you're just making money on how many hours like get viewed or whatnot. Okay, now that we've got that covered, here's why I don't like Amazon Prime anymore. I just found out that as of 2019, they will literally, and I wrote this down, they will literally, due to customer content quality expectations, they will literally remove your movie if it doesn't perform.
So no views equals no views.
Well, basically, they give you the chance. They get, okay, let's see how it does. You know, you can put it up there in maybe a year or two, but after that, they'll just remove it, and they won't even tell you or anything, and it'll even say like we won't re-accept it. You can't fix it or in any way. It just won't be there anymore. So Amazon Prime should be a last ditch effort in terms. In addition to the very, very last ditch effort of YouTube, but I would definitely seek out a distributor. And first of all, make your movie as good as it can be, because, you know, it's very competitive. But once you get to that point, I would seek out a distributor and, you know, do something with the film, or give it to someone else who has a following, who has an idea of their audience that they're looking for and whatnot. As long as they're not willing to, or as long as they're not like forcing you to like alter the title, or, you know, make a trailer that's not as good, or change the movie in any way, I would say find a distributor, and as long as they're willing to stream it for, you know, within a significant amount of time of you contacting them, I don't see any problem there.
So there's some more to touch on that too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because Lou asked them in the beginning about people who are just starting, and as we know, you know, working with Film Consortium, Dan, you've done a lot of Film Consortium stuff, and we get a lot of people that are coming like out of San Diego City College or San Diego State, and they throw themselves to the fire and they start working really hard, and then only having a few IMDb credits, and then after a while the want to sometimes starts to fade a little bit because they're confused on why they're not getting to where they want to get to. And there's a couple of steps that we as San Diegans, we need to start taking more seriously and start skipping to the turn on the camera, lights, camera, action part. And the first thing you guys all touched on, Lou touched on, and Dan, you touched on it too, these networking events with Film Consortium and all these other places, they're really networking events where you gotta, it's about relationship building first. That would be the very first thing you want to do right out of college. So the reason why I'm in front of Luis Martinez today, the reason why I know who Dan Butler is, and that other Mexican dude on the screen, I can't remember his name, but
Lermy Lerms.
I know who he is. No,
and he's changing the name to Dominic Lerma, Lurma, just so he stands out, because there was another Dominic Lerma. So let's change his name to Dominic Lerma, Lurhma. Lerma. Yeah.
You just lurch for that.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though. But yeah, go ahead, DImitri, and then I want to let Dominic say something after that.
Cool, man. So like the reason why I'm in front of you guys today is because I literally met Lou at a networking event called San Diego Film Week, and then so on and so forth. Then I met Jody Silly, and then I built a relationship with her and those two actors. So that's the first thing. You want to network. But the second thing, the one part that enough San Diego filmmakers don't take advantage of and don't put enough time into is the basics, and that's really finding money to build your project. So that's going to include more networking. That includes investor meetings. That includes some crowdfunding things, and then you also have to look at, once you get that done, you also need to make sure you have budgeted your advertising and marketing budget or your A&M, because when you get to distribution, these are the things that they assess, and basically what they're going to look at is who is in your movie, and if it's a bunch of your film friends, the bigger distributors are not as reluctant. So you have to have money, then you have to produce well, like Dan already said. Once you get to that point, you also got to help get word out through networking events, through all kinds of advertisements, social media, the whole shebang. These are things that you need to start building up before you turn your camera on, before you ask somebody to write a script or anything of that nature. So we have to start getting into that mindset. So now you can approach a distributor and not be shaky about it. You can actually be confident about it. I have these people in this movie, these are professionals, and then I have a lot of my San Diego friendly crew members as well. Now the distributors are going to take you more seriously. You're going to, at some point, maybe not in the beginning, but at some point you want to build yourself to you, or you have A-listers in your film. And when you're budgeted properly, you're going to have a good production. You're going to have a good flowing production.
I'd
Yeah, I
like
wanna
to
talk
touch
about-
base on
Go
that a
ahead.
little bit.
Go
Sorry
ahead.
to jump in there. So I think that, I think there's a little bit too much.
Dan, can you hold that for 1 second? real
Go
quick?
for it.
Just because I know Dominic's got to go and he wanted to say something before you
Okay,
left.
go, Dominic.
We're going to keep talking about this and EPK, more indie film stuff. But one of the things that we did bring up today was passing of Joe D'Amato, a local filmmaker, producer. I know he invested in his time, his money, his locations to a lot of independent filmmakers locally. I met him a couple of times. He was a genuine guy, really passionate about filmmaking. So obviously that's something that resonates. So I respect his hustle and his gangster in terms of making movies and getting shit done. And Dominic got to work with him on a lot of projects, and we had him on earlier to kind of give his last word. Dominic's got to go, but I wanted to give you a last word. Dominic, go ahead.
Going back to Joe, we unfortunately lost a very, very beautiful soul recently. But the best we could do is just help keep his legacy going through the work that he has produced. And also, I think with everything going on right now and just seeing how just so many unfortunate things are just happening to people, I mean, now's like a time more than ever just to turn to the people closest to you. And all you got to say is just tell them that you love them and appreciate them, because you never know. One day they're there and then the next day they're gone for whatever reason. So I think with Joe's passing, it's definitely a really big reminder that we're all family here, even in the community, even if we all don't agree and we don't get along at times, but it doesn't matter. We're still a community here and our community is supposed to be strong. So just remember that we all stick together. We're all a team, we're a family, and we're all artists in the end. And we're all here for the same reason, and that's to create art through film, no matter what you're doing. So that's my goodbye
Absolutely,
there.
Dominic. Thank you very much for joining us. You are my literal baby brother, and I love you. So thank you very much.
Love you guys too.
Big
And,
hug,
thank you.
Dominic. Big hug.
And from what I've heard, there's going to be like a
Hugging my
virtual,
laptop.
like a Zoom,
Potato brother.
more
breath for
kind
life.
of proper remembrance online on Wednesday. So I'm assuming that people like you and other people that were close to him will have that information for people that want to join that. And like I said, thank you for joining us, Dominic. You have a good rest of your evening.
Good talking with you,
You
Dominic.
as well, guys. Yeah, good
Peace,
talking to
Dom.
you guys.
All right.
All right.
But yeah, so talking with Dan and DImitri here, we're talking mistakes that filmmakers make with both distribution and with setting up before they even roll the camera. I want to remind everybody that's live to get a like check. Let us know if you're not following the channel. Go ahead and do that. I'm also giving away 2 passes to the horrible. If you like horror movies, everybody that's left a comment, I have 2 passes to the Horrible Imaginings film. I just saw a movie called Loose today that was friggin' pretty dope in terms of horror movies. And there's passes where you can watch like 8 movies, 8 short films. So if you want to get in consideration for that, just leave a comment that I read online. Getting back to what you guys were talking about, DImitri, you're talking about the importance of setting things up and giving your film the best chance to succeed by putting the wheels in motion and getting technical about it before you start. And Dan, you were going to follow up on that.
Yeah. So DImitri mentioned social media, and I agree. They definitely need to be on social media and post often. And
does every movie that you make need its own Instagram page though? Because I love my filmmakers and I'll follow any page that you make, but I see myself following like 15 individual Instagram accounts for individual movies. Now,
I would recommend, and I'm at fault for this too. I would recommend having just like a production company account and then posting everything in there.
Right.
That would probably
Like
be
Papa
the
Jarrett.
best way. If not a production company account, maybe like the lead actor's account can post about it, or the director, or somebody that like is very, very close to that project. Posting
Every
about
production company has to have like a front person, somebody that can kind of be that
it.
right?
Yeah.
If you
So, but with like social media, the thing is like everyone's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I am not seeing enough people, especially locally, on TikTok. And let me tell you about TikTok. This platform, the way it is set up, you do not need a following to get views. You can literally blow up overnight from one 15-second video that's not even that funny, just because of the way the algorithm works. So I would highly recommend, if you're taking the time to post on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, make sure you're posting on TikTok also. And you can post the same content to all 4 platforms. You can make the video on TikTok and post it to the others. But it is a proven fact that is the social media platform of 2019 and 2020 to not ignore. And on top of social media, now we're getting into a little bit more specific, is SEO, search engine optimization. This is where you're going into talking to anybody in the world, whether they know what IMDb is or not. When you tell somebody your name, they're immediately going to go to Google or Bing or any search engine and search for you. And I don't feel like there is enough effort locally put into search engine optimization for films or for actors and filmmakers. So I would highly recommend taking the time to do that, because it is powerful. It is very powerful to be like, hey, here's my business card. My name's on it. And then people can literally just type in Google, and you have the little information box, the knowledge panel, that just shows up at the top of search results on your mobile device, or on the right side of mobile or search results on your desktop. So you want to make sure you're there, because I feel like that is something that if you don't have, you're never going to be eligible for the notorious Wikipedia that everybody wants. And I don't like Wikipedia either, but I know people want it. And you're never going to be eligible for being verified on social media without search engine optimization.
That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
if you had to add TikTok but drop either Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, which one would you drop?
Facebook.
All right.
Yep.
In fact, I actually unpublished my Facebook page. I still have my profile, but I had a page with my name attached, and I decided I'm going to unpublish it. And it is because Facebook has limited the reach so bad that if you do not have a big following and you are not running ads on your post, especially if you're posting outside links, you are wasting your time. You're taking the time and effort to post somewhere where no one is going to see that. And that is a waste of time at this point. In 2008, it was great, but we're in 2020 now, and there's better places to post that information.
No, they don't like you promoting YouTube videos because they have their own Facebook watch, obviously. So that's that.
Yeah, upload the exact same content to Facebook and watch how it performs.
Yeah, exactly. No, so yeah, I don't. I'm broadcasting to both now, but the Facebook reach.
I share the Facebook link and not the YouTube.
Yeah, it's weird trying to build on both at the same time. It's almost like you need different approaches for each of them.
Think of Facebook as like you're going to get the most attention in the first 48 hours to 72 hours, and YouTube, you're going to build over time. YouTube will actually, if you put all the right, words in the title, the description, the tags, so on and so forth, it will grow over time. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it will grow instantly. It can be great content, and if you don't take the time to, hashtag it or, write the right keywords in the description, it won't grow. I've proven that because I have cats. And I posted a viral video of my cat on YouTube, and it was on YouTube for 6 months, no views, until I changed the title, and voila, it blew up.
All right, well, we're gonna have to have you fucking have you come in as a consultant to Burrito, man, so you can fucking look over our content shit. Tell I'm always looking for outside voices, man, in terms of how to grow the channel, because I believe we have content and talented people around this, man.
There's so much good content on the internet that is not getting noticed because of the algorithm and because of the creators really not knowing what their target audience is. And people that get famous now, it's like winning the lottery off of that.
Now, one thing that I noticed also recently, especially because I was talking to Miguel from Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, and I looked at their sort of their page of all the films, and it seems like electronic press kits (EPKs) have like gone through the roof. Like indie filmmakers, you should know somebody that knows Photoshop that's in your circle. You should know somebody that can help you with posters and stuff like that, because it seems like as an entry into the game for major film festivals, if you don't have a fucking slick ass, and this goes to what you guys were talking about social media, but if you don't have a slick ass electronic press kit, EPK, know it, learn it, love it, you're pretty much selling yourself short, right?
Yeah, I believe that is the secret sauce that worked for my brother's movie with all the press. I created a 9-page work document as the EPK and covered it with all of his information about the movie. Make sure to include like all kinds of like photos and send it off. And I sent it to way too many people, knowing 95% of the people wouldn't respond. But here we are. I got enough press, more than I expected. I'll say more than I expected responded, and I feel good about that because it wasn't time wasted. It was time invested.
Now, yeah, I just noticed that, and then you were saying something about like thumbnails and whatnot, Dimitri.
Yeah, when you're trying to post on Facebook, you're gonna, like you said, to get the actual reach itself, you have to obviously post it on Facebook. You can't do a YouTube link or something like that. And then sometimes thumbnails get if whatever you post the very first time, that's what everybody sees, and that's it. And then sometimes you may have a mishap, and you might have used the wrong thumbnail. Well, it's not the same as YouTube. You can just take it off and swap it out, and nobody might not have seen it. But if you don't do it in time the very first time, if you don't get it right on Facebook, it just stays that way pretty much. And then that's what everybody sees. So if it's misspelled or whatever, you're gonna have to live with it.
No, we've had that situation happen to our videos where like even if you don't post it, even if you send it to somebody as a preview, like, hey, this isn't live yet, but check this out. As soon as it ingests through Facebook, that's the thumbnail that they will automatically keep with it. And there's a debug link that you can go to repaste the link so that it refreshes in Facebook's algorithm. That shit don't work. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts about a couple of things that just happened recently. It turns out, okay, I was talking to Shelly Rose. Shout out Shelly Rose. She recorded a music video recently, and they had to go through all these COVID practices, PPE, stuff like that. Boom, boom, boom. Drum to send. The way she described it is that since talent on sets can't really have a mask on or be covered because they need to do their makeup and they have to reapply it, etc., that it's everybody's job, like on set, the PAs, makeup artists, directors, everybody, to sort of take care of the talent by being extra careful, right? So it's almost like everybody's taking care of little baby. So now they shut down Batman because it turns out Robert Pattinson's the one that had COVID on set. They weren't doing such a good job of protecting him. If I'm assuming that as the lead actor, he was probably the one guy on set that couldn't, right? That couldn't be sitting there protecting themselves. I know you guys shot your movie a while ago, and I don't know if you guys have anything in pre-production right now, but how comfortable are you both as filmmakers and producers in setting up a set, or what needs to happen for you guys to sort of feel comfortable in that environment? Whoever wants to take that.
An annual salary. Annual salary. That'll do it for me.
Once you
Yeah.
get paid, you'd have to. It would have to be a part of your career with benefits, basically,
it
and
would
medical.
it would not be a local indie film, that's for sure. That can wait. That can wait. There's no reason to be shooting your movie right now, regardless of how safe the precautions are. If you are shooting your movie, you really have to make sure you have a COVID coordinator on set. And
Yeah,
you need
I
one
know they did.
for
They did have one of those.
yeah, you need one for every 10 people on set. So make sure you have a budget for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they jumped through like every fucking hoop they had to. They had a fucking COVID coordinator. They had a limit crew. So that's why I'm like, it's a lot of extra. And she said that it only added about 10 to 15% to the budget.
I honestly I feel like this is like everybody's kind of used to this thing now. Doesn't make it any less dangerous, and everybody just kind of wants to be like, oh, let's just get back to normal. Everybody's kind of adjusted now, and we kind of make them feel safe, make them go do this. Still can't guarantee anything. Still gonna lose lives, and when all we have to do is wait for a vaccine, like, come on.
Right. So in your mind, it's not worth it. I mean, I know that part of the reason that I started doing this and a lot of the other video content that I've been putting out since it started is because I realized that I'm nowhere near being on a movie set anytime soon, and
Yeah.
and this keeps me creative. Dimitri, you were going to say something.
Yeah, man. There's two things. Just to touch on the last part about the COVID coordinator. Yeah, if you can't, you have to budget some kind of medical staff, COVID coordinator, or whatever. But the minute somebody shows any symptom, like if somebody literally sneezes on set, you're supposed to, by law, shut down production right then and there. So that's already
Wait. What?
lost.
Wait. Hold on a second. What if I just came back from a break from a safety meeting, and it's the chronic that's got me coughing. I got to shut down set.
Yeah, it's allergies.
Yes.
Allergies.
Yes.
You just walked outside.
Fuck that shit.
The sun's in your face and you got allergies. Are you supposed to shut down because you sneezed because it's too bright out?
Let's just all see who could. Let's just see who can make
And
the
that
best
backs up
YouTube
my
content.
original statement of it's too soon.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
So what you can do in the meantime, though, is go back to the basics. Reaching out like what Lou's doing right now, basically is just networking through the internet and having some good conversations. But then you can also gear up. You can also talk to people who want to invest, and you can also start using, if not social media, then you can start at least getting word out about your film. You don't have to necessarily shoot it right now.
Yeah.
But if you put the time in to build the money and get the word out, then when COVID clears, you hit the ground running versus waiting until COVID's completely over. And then you're going back to what we call in the pro industry as resource filmmaking, where you start asking for favors and trying to put a script together and shoot the movie. When COVID's done, you should have word out and you should have your money ready to go get things and hit the ball rolling and firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I talked to Tom Stewart on another pod, and he's doing a lot of things as an actor too. So if you guys are looking, like I said, I see actors that are doing monologues, they're doing stuff, they're just doing shit. There's tons of now as an actor is a great time to just start doing your own YouTube content, stuff like that. There's not, like you said, like Dan said, there's not a real reason to rush to get back to set. Now, if there's money involved, if it's a commercial shoot and you're gonna take every precaution, that's a big if. But I'm not giving IMDb and Little Caesars and expecting you to come out and risk your life. Like I don't ask me to help you out. Anything I can do virtual, if you want me to review your reel.
Bro, you're laughing, but people are doing that in San Diego.
That's why I'm laughing. You can't convince those people.
Yeah.
I've gone out a few times, very, very seldomly. I went to watch the Bio Waves way back in like April or something. I went to Miguel's last week. First time I ever went to a public place to eat dinner just to see what it was like outside. And it was still too crowded and not spaced out enough for my liking. Like this stuff is like crazy.
I've been to the beach like on a Tuesday when it was nice and empty. And a couple of store trips but other than that, man, I'm fucking keeping it low pro. That's why, I'm doing all this fucking content right now, which actually is keeping me creative, which I fucking love. Dimitri, go ahead.
Yeah, just saying that, like, I hope some people are watching this, because there are people that are trying to produce films right now. And the reason why I keep talking about budget so much is because I get approached by people just because working with guys like Kenny Jenkins and shooting a couple of things and me editing a couple of commercials. I get people hitting me up about editing gigs and stuff like that. And you hear people talking about shooting on sets, and number one, they don't have it budgeted to even get to afford the location. And then on top of that, they're asking you to do basically a huge favor, is to come on set and do stuff. And for me, even as an editor, if I'm going to edit something, I'm still a working person. I don't get unemployment. So if I don't know you, if it's Luis or maybe even Dan, somebody I know, it's one thing. But when I don't know you and you're asking me to do big favors, you need to reassess what you're doing, because I'm going to really, literally, fully charge you. Like, I would never charge Louis to what I would charge somebody else, but I'm going to tell somebody else I need $40 to $50 an hour and 4 hours per minute. And if you can't afford that, then I can't really help you. But you can join this podcast if you want. We can talk and we can chop it up.
DImitri, you're saying the game is to be sold and not told. Is that basically what you're saying?
In some cases, man. Only in some cases. If you develop relationships and you have a relationship with that person and you guys are working together, that's one thing. But outsiders will come and ask you for work during this hard time when they know it's
no,
not
absolutely,
useful.
absolutely. The only thing right now that makes sense for people in that scenario is collaboration. Like, don't expect to send me something and then you give me step. If you want to collaborate with somebody and you're like, hey, you're an editor, I got some footage. Do you want to edit my footage? Sure, I'll edit your footage, but I want to do it in my style, because then it would be a collaboration. You shot the footage, I'm gonna edit it, I'm gonna see what I can come up with it. But if that same person says, well, no, can you cut here at 42 and then take this whole section out and then use this song instead? Well, that's not really a collaboration. That's free labor. That's the slavery with extra steps, right? That's like you're basically getting work for free. In the spirit of collaboration. So
become an engineer instead of an
artist. That's something that people, and I always give shit to people that build their entire filmmaking schedule around like a 48-hour festival where they're basically not ashamed to ask people to work for free, right? But I think that there's a difference, right? When you talk to somebody and you truly want to collaborate with them, that means giving up part of the creative process. The book that got me into film like a long ass time ago is called The Collaborative Art of Filmmaking, and I truly believe that it's a collaborative art. It takes people like myself that come up with crazy ideas and produce stuff and direct stuff. There takes people like DImitri and Daniel, editors, people that do VFX, Photoshop. It takes people that are like the backbone, like the people that work with us at 2AM Burrito, like Laura, Shelly, Claudia, all the strong people that like make up the backbone of all the processes that you guys said that have to happen for a film to be successful in 2020. You can't be acting like this is 1998 and you're gonna get into fucking, you ain't Kevin Skiff getting into cons. That doesn't happen anymore. The whole indie apocalypse movement is the fact that technology is there to be able to, so that your film can look almost as good as the stuff that gets put out through Hollywood. And if you can show people that you can do that, then you got a shot in this industry. Am I wrong?
Nope.
No, that's right, dude. I mean, even with Netflix, when you complete your project, you have to go through something called an aggregator, which is where you shop it in front of Netflix, and then you have to create what they call key art, which is basically the term for poster. And then you have to speak to somebody down at Netflix, and you have to be able to talk their language and understand where to go, and they're going to expect production quality, and they're going to ask you, have you shot on Red or Alexa? And in a lot of cases, if you have shot on G5 or something like that, or the Sony products or something like that, a lot of times you get shot down for that alone. So
there's a whole technical aspect.
Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going to shoot something today and you want to then you need to go on their website and get those specs and get that to your DP, because even though the GH5 might create the same image, it might be in your best interest to spend the $400 or $500 on the day and get the camera that is already Amazon and Netflix and Hulu approved,
Absolutely.
And there's a couple of those out there, and there's, we got lucky. We've shot from everything from a fucking GH2 to a like 8K Dragon. You know, we've shot on everything, so
Mhm.
we can do it all. Netflix, anything you want, just you know. And again, this is my. I did this a year ago. Nobody took me up, but if anybody out there that's a producer, director, connected person, agent can get me in a room either at Hulu, Netflix, HBO, you know, anytime over the next 18 months, a Zoom room at that, it's not even that hard, and I sell something, 10% finder's fee for you. Check it
Okay,
out.
I can help you with that, Luis. I can help you with that right now.
You get me in there, Dan. I'm gonna cut you in on the deal, brother. All right.
You want to contact Ryan Binsey. You know,
Ryan
you know,
Binsey?
you know Ryan Binsey?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, you want to contact him. He's in cahoots with HBO.
Let's do it. We got shit to pitch for them for days. So
I'm hitting them up immediately. I got stuff to sell already.
All right, Daniel and DImitri. This is going to be our lightning round. I end every interview with a bracket bit. That's from Mr. Butler. But before that,
can I say one more thing?
Please go ahead.
All right. When you make a film, think of three things. You want it to be good. You want to do it quickly. And you want to do it cheap. But you can only pick two. So it can be good and cheap, but it won't be fast. It can be good and fast, but it won't be cheap. It will also be fast and cheap, but it won't be good. You got to pick two. And I can tell you right now, good is absolutely essential. When we shot Friend of the World, we shot it 6 months later than we wanted to. And my brother rewrote a lot of the movie. And it is a much better movie because of it. And that was without a pandemic. So in the midst of a pandemic, you can absolutely rewrite your script over and over and over again and make it awesome. And instead of shooting it during unhealthy and unsafe circumstances. All right, go ahead, Luis.
Oh, abso-freaking-lutely. Let me recap here. I got through everything that I wanted to talk to you guys about, but again, I want to thank you for coming on. We can jump into this bracket bit with you, Mr. Butler, but a couple of quick hitter questions for you guys. Dan, you are the PR manager for the new Batman. Did they pick the right song and mood for that trailer?
I only watched it once, and I liked it, but I feel like I liked what I was seeing more than I was hearing. So, no?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, but I think like all these movies, like even the Dan Snyder recut trailer had another like Nirvana song, right? It was like, it's like, let's pick a really sad 90s grunge song and put the footage, you know, and then we'll make it all super moody.
I definitely liked what I saw, but I don't remember any song. So,
all right, DImitri, what team is Messi going to end up on next year after he plays this last season angry at Barcelona for not letting him out of his contract?
He plays for Barca. Nobody else can afford him.
Okay, give me 1 second here. All right, give me.
you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. All right, got it. Give me a second. All right, and Dan Butler. We started off this interview talking about how it's hard to find you because there's a whole bunch of Butlers on IMDb and how we should be appreciative of people with unique names, and you should kind of pick a good unique name for yourself and stick to it, or know what IMDb is about so you can connect all your shit. But we're going to go with a famous Butlers bracket. I'm going to give you 2 Butlers, and you pick one of them to move on to the next round. All right? And then you can expand your feelings on them if you wish to. Okay? So, again, the bracket bit is about famous Butlers. All right. Agador Spartacus, the butler from the Birdcage, played by Hank Azaria, or Gerald Butler, actor.
You mean Gerard?
Gerard Butler, yes.
Gerard
moves on. All right. Now there's 2 of these. There's 2 individual Brett Butlers. One of them was a female comedian who starred on the TV show. The other one was a baseball player for the Kansas City Royals. So you get a 2-for-1. which Brett Butler? Two Brett Butlers. Which one moves on? The baseball player or the actress?
I played baseball growing up, so I'm gonna go with baseball.
All right, and then Joffrey from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or Jarvis from the Avenger movies.
Did you say Joffrey?
Yeah, Jeffrey from the Fresh Prince.
Oh, I thought you said Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Let's go with the other one.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna go. Can you guys hear me still? All right. Sorry about that.
Yep.
We're gonna go with Jarvis. All right. Cool.
Yeah, Jarvis. Let's go with
All
Jarvis.
right. And then Belvedere, or basketball player Karan Butler.
Belvedere.
Belvedere. All right. And then Lurch, you mentioned this, which was the butler for the Addams family, or Jimmy Butler, currently kicking ass for the Miami Heat in the playoffs.
Lurch.
Lurch. All right. And that leaves us with Brett Butler, baseball player, versus Gerard Butler.
Okay.
Which one is that? What are you picking there?
Gerard.
Gerard Butler. And Lurch versus Mr. Belvedere.
Lurch.
Lurch. And then the final is Lurch or Gerard as the most famous or relevant Butler to you.
Gerard.
Gerard Butler wins. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Butler, for participating in the bracket bid. I want to get you guys to tell me what you're working on and what you're doing next. DImitri, tell the people where they can find you, follow you, and what your next project is as I step away for 2 seconds.
All right, my name is DImitri Greene. You can find me on any social media as DImitri Greene. And if you want to talk about socks, because I also talk about that as well, you can go on any social media and type in Sock It Channel, all one word. You'll see a blue icon, and then you'll find me from there. So, yeah, DImitri Greene, Sock It Channel, all one word, all social media.
That it?
Yep. But while Lou is doing stuff right now, I'm gonna say one thing about movies. Big productions are, first of all, most big productions are usually agreed to in the back of a bar, and it's two sides: the creative side and the investor side. The investors have spent their whole lives learning how to make money. The artists have spent their whole lives learning how to make art. So most starving artists in San Diego are waiting to get discovered. Well, you can go to the people with the money and start talking with them. When the investors and the creatives come together, that's when you have a big production every single time. Ooh, he's back in.
Hold on a second. There you go. And I assume you gave people where to find the information and where to find it.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Butler, tell us where they can, when is the next time they can see your movie or
Well, as of today, I just found out I edited Mark Atkinson's most recent short. It was a cute, fun film we shot last year. It streamed last month at the Oceanside Film Festival. You can see it today, starting today, on Inventive at the Block Island Film Festival, which is streaming online. And Friend of the World, which world premiere last month, will screen either online or in person at the San Diego Film Week, whenever it happens, at a drive-in, a winery, movie theater, who knows? And then I am in the upcoming feature film Fruitful Mold. I have a bit part on screen that my brother wrote for me, and that will be coming out probably next year, but there's no release date. So, well, I'm just going to leave it at that for that one. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. Obviously, under sort of weird circumstances, but I'm glad that Dominic got a chance to talk for a little bit since he seemed really emotional about it. And I'm glad that as a community, everybody sort of is, reaching out to each other, etc. Because as everybody knows, 2020 is a hard motherfucking year that we're all going through, and
I got
hopefully
one
we'll
more
all
thing.
get through it. And okay, I'll give you a second. I got you. So hopefully we're all get to the other side of this. But yeah, Dimitri, what else did you have?
Okay, so what I'm in super early pre-production for is, well, first of all, there is a Black Lives Matter film challenge that's being held by Film Consortium. I'm on the committee and judge for that as well. It's being sponsored by KPBS and Panasonic Lumix, so be on the lookout for that. It's on
Okay.
film. It's on Film Freeway right now. 5-minute film that relates to Black Lives Matter. You can have anybody on your cast. Just keep it below 5 minutes. More descriptions are in Film Freeway. And then the second thing is the super early pre-production I'm on right now is going to be a story based on the life of a man named Sagan Penn. So right now, during Black Lives Matter movement and also the passing of someone that's very special from us, we pretty much lost Black Panther, as we all know. But at the same time, there is a person who actually lived by the name of Sagan Penn, who actually killed 2 white police officers as a Black man and beat trial 2 times in a row. So he beat both accounts. But one of the biggest reasons is because one of the white police officers actually stood up in the second trial and admitted that racial intentions is how Sagan Penn received punishment, and deemed himself defending himself by using the martial art of Taekwondo. So this is a story that will be told about not only a Black man that just killed 2 white police officers in self-defense, but also another cop coming, an actual good cop basically stepping up and fighting against racism themselves. And it's very educative about how martial arts can actually save your life literally from being shot. It's a pretty powerful story, and it's tied to a lot of people that are in my own secondary family as a martial artist. The guy I used to play basketball with as a kid, I come to find out that he's a Taekwondo master who has to sign up on my black belt when I'm eligible for it. And he also grew up with Sagan Penn. My right-hand man, Ron Hughes, who's my tech guy who builds my computers and things like that for editing and all of that, he's also has relations to him as well. So it's a pretty big story in a time that this story is probably needed. So anybody wants to be involved, I'm definitely looking for investors and anybody else who wants to get involved, maybe even consultation from Dan. When the money comes, I'm gonna pay you some money for whatever things that I need with you and all that. We'll talk about that. So yeah, the life of Sagan Penn, I'm gonna be doing a film on that. So be on the lookout.
All right, and go ahead, Daniel.
I just think interesting.
No, absolutely. It seems very, topical. It obviously is something that's, something that's close to you. So obviously, if you're passionate about it, that's an added bonus. Because there's a whole bunch of people doing shit that they're not passionate about. So again, thank you everybody that commented. Did I miss anyone? Yeah. Oh man, they were man. I mean, after your brother tells you that he's got the chipmunk voice filter, then Brian pumps in with, "Is this the helium adjustment, Chad?" Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. That one. And then LOL. I noticed that too, Brian, over here as
That's my friend Amber.
Oh, okay. All right. Shout out Amber and shout out everybody who commented. Thank you for watching it. And then I always, since Facebook loves to take my money, I always usually boost these videos, and they usually do pretty good, like 1,700, 2,000 views.
If you need help with that, I might be able to.
No, absolutely. I know we've never really sat down and talked, Daniel, but like I said at the beginning, when I was like, who's this guy that's like going in and like fucking hooking people up with IMDb? Like I searched for myself and I'm like, oh my God, I look legit. I got my Slapworthy posters. I got my shit. You know what I mean?
Like, on IMDb. Let's work on your Google now.
No. Yeah, absolutely. No, but like I said, once I knew that was you, I have, respected, like I said, your gangster and how you're getting about the back end and like the meat and bones of the operations of filmmaking. And I believe, as you have to, as they say, to thine own self be true, you have to, as a filmmaker, be honest to where it is that you're lacking. Are you putting out shit content because you trust a shitty editor? Are you shooting a second draft when you should be shooting a fifth or sixth draft? Are you not sending your scripts to somebody who's a better writer than you so they can tell you where you're fucking up? Are you not doing the right things? And I think one of the parts that 2 a.m. burrito is missing is somebody like that can help that can help kind of take a look at us and say, hey, X, Y, and Z aren't connecting for you, and let's help you do that. So, like I said, I appreciate what you do as a benevolent helper of the community. I see you put a lot of good content out there, obviously, for people, and you bring up a lot of good topics. So, anybody that kind of is an independent filmmaker should watch this. And I just had a note here, Dimitri. Did I tell one of the major film festivals in the United States to go fuck itself earlier on the podcast? Did I?
Yeah, you did that.
That
I agree.
I actually did do. All right, just making sure. So Dan, I appreciate
I had a
you.
different
And thanks for doing it.
experience last year when I went. I was only there for one day, so I don't know if it was a different day or not.
I had no idea it was that shitty, bro. Because
no, it's a beautifully run festival, but I just think that if you're gonna invite,
I agree.
I don't like that
though, because it sounds like they took one look at you and judged you, and that's not cool.
Yeah, no, it definitely is like, hey, as part you got selected as best of for the 48. All right, fuck it. You're gonna screen and these movies are gonna be watched again as part of the San Diego International Film Festival. So you show up as a filmmaker to get your badges, and they're like, "Oh, you don't get the top level badge where you get to actually act like a filmmaker."
Yeah,
you basically get a free ticket.
You get a free ticket to watch your own movie, and that's
to watch your own movie again. So if you're gonna treat filmmakers like shit, then treat them like shit, and just don't even invite us to fucking come. And honestly,
have your voice heard, man.
Right. So I just wanted to double.
I get invited to some of the after parties and the other screenings just because I work with Jody and Film Consortium.
Yeah,
I never knew.
Same thing.
So I thought everything was cool, but I didn't know they were cheating people like that. That's not cool, man. I mean, we people work. They slaved themselves for 2 days.
And what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? A bunch of fucking local filmmakers to your fucking festival have a good experience networking with other filmmakers, so they make more movies, so they submit more fucking movies to your local film festival. Because obviously every San Diego filmmaker wants to be able to say they got into the fucking San Diego International Film Festival, where a lot of major movies have debuted over the fucking years. Sorry. So what's the worst that could happen? They have a good experience. They feel good about coming to your festival, and they keep making more movies for your festival to review at $75 a fucking pop for a late entry. Sorry. All right.
Yeah, let it out. Let it out. Let out the dragon.
Rant over for a second time on the San Diego International Film Festival. Anyway, again, thank you guys for coming on. And there's a lot of film stuff coming up. San Diego Film Week is being reimagined. San Diego Latino Film Festival is next month, again online right now. Horrible Imaginings Film Festival for anybody that loves horror movies is screaming right now. I saw a couple of great movies today already. And I think that's geo restricted to the Southwest, so not everybody around the world can watch that festival. But if you're in Southern California, you can absolutely go to Horrible Imaginings and watch some really cool movies right now. So Dimitri, good luck with your project. I'll be talking to you because I talk to you all the time. Mr. Butler, I will be talking to you offline at some point when it is convenient for you, so we can work together and etc.
I have of time.
All right, and thank you for coming on. So thank you everybody for watching. This has been another Fireside Chat with Big Chief Burrito, RIP Joe D'Amato here in San Diego, local producer. And everybody, just reminding you that life is better when you stay out of the comment section. All right, and Enslaved by Vegetables comes in with the ghost emote at the end. Thank you, Enslaved by Vegetables. All right, so everybody, peace.
Stay cool this week in Southern California.
Stay cool. Stay inside. Watch a movie.
On Amazon Prime.